Money on my mind, gotta hustle and grind. Financial literacy always on my mind. I'm stacking knowledge, no time to waste. Gotta invest smart, gotta keep up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks.
What is good, everybody? We are here in 2026. It's your boy, Reckless Ray Dinero, and we are ready to get going. We're ready to get started. We're ready to get this year going right. We're having a little bit of some technical difficulties. Obviously, I took a couple of weeks off for the holidays. I had a lot going on, and I got sick. I still have hives. Had a freaking gnarly allergic reaction, and was just not in the headspace to be able to record because I was itching and burning, which it's not so bad now. Actually, it's going away pretty well, and the itching and burning has stopped. Hives are no fun. Be careful when switching fabric softener. Fabric softener incident is actually what happened. I got a new fabric softener, and I used it on everything and didn't think anything of it. And then it's on your bedding, it's on your clothes, and you really never think about the stuff that you're putting on your skin until you have a reaction to something you put on your skin, and it's on everything. So I've been in the process of rewashing literally everything. And fun surprises of things that I didn't think that I'd washed that I did wash with that product, and you put it on, and next thing you know, hives are back. So we're back. These are our first slew of episodes for 2026. I got a lot of stuff that's going to be changing. The studio layout's going to be this changing. You're probably going to see either a different version of this or me in a different space because I'm moving into a different part of my house, and I kind of like having all my stuff consolidated and coalesced into the space that I'm existing in. And that means we get to rebuild the studio. It might be I don't even have any idea what it's going to look like, to be honest. Like, I haven't even thought that far yet because I'm still working on my bedroom. So one battle at a time. And then as we start working on the space that we're going to be in, I will probably be looking and working towards how that's going to line out, how I want that space to function and look. Until then, I will be working in this corner. We got a lot of updates. I'm going to probably be doing slating updates across the board. So definitely feel free to chime in on these first few episodes as we're getting into 2026. Give me a comment down in there on stuff that you want to see. Do you like the intro? Do you want some? Because I'm going to be redoing the intro. I'm going to personally probably go pick up some bee footage from around my area of existence and make something that's a little bit more personable. It'll be a different jingle. So we've been doing the jingle that we have for about 12 months. I'm going to make something else. But we're going to be doing some updates. Always willing to take cues from the community that we've got over here, what we've built so far. For those reaching out who want to help me grow my page, I am not trying to be a YouTuber, so I definitely will not be looking into any of that stuff until I get about 500 subscribers on my own. It's just not something that I'm interested in, which is funny because like when you're actually making the income and giving the receipts, it's like the thing that I need to do to make money is literally what I'm doing to make money, and I'm just recording to let you guys know what I'm doing. I'm leaving the breadcrumbs for you. Because once this shifts to what I did, it's going to probably be an order of magnitude less effective. Like the episodes, like what I'm doing right now, which is what I'm doing, is what I'm doing and what I did are going to be two different conversations. Because when it becomes what I did, those opportunities might not exist anymore. And that's just being honest. Bitcoin's finite. It's going away. The high yield stuff is, it is what it is. I don't necessarily think that's definitely not based around finality. It's not going away, but as the dollar debasement gets worse and worse, it kind of is what it is. You're playing in something where it's like, I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. The whole premise of using that piece of the strategy is to purchase more Bitcoin. That is the game. That is my end goal. When we do our episode, which will probably be this Thursday, because this is going to be Monday, about my goals for 2026, we'll dive into a little bit of what we're looking at from that perspective. We've already started buying more Bitcoin. We're amplifying our Bitcoin exposure in our long-term portfolio. We're turning up some of those strategies that we've got going in there. We're getting those long-term positions. We're scooping up as much as we can. Bitcoin's flirting with crossing back over that $90,000 threshold as I'm recording this. We touched 90 today. As long as we're below 90, I have even more going into our amplified Bitcoin exposure. And yeah, so we're gonna be working on, just continuing to run that bag up. Like it's just so important. And like, I'm really getting into a space of a man on fire with this, where it's like, hey, like, I know I have a limited amount of time. This is a opportunity that needs to be seized now, because it's not going to be an opportunity later. It's going to have to be looking for something else later. But this is a springboard. We are a part of a wealth transfer, and I'm trying to be on the right side of said transfer. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and jump into our finances. Hopefully you guys have already liked the video. If you have not liked the video, reminder to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, especially if you've been here more than twice. Last but not least, free way to support the channel, because we are doing this grassroots, is to share the video and get me out into the algorithm. Send it to somebody that you care about, somebody that you are trying to field if they are of the same like and mind as we are over here in the Wolfpack, and they are on their financial ascent journey, looking to make some changes in 2026. And you need a little bit of motivation, maybe some ideas about what somebody who's in the same position as you is actually doing with their money, and giving you receipts every month. So we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it. We've got obviously our financial updates. So the first thing we're going to get to, obviously this will also be on the thumbnail, the net worth. For those of you who are only looking at the thumbnail, I break down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 metrics that I track every month. And these actually, we're doing this episode, but I think this is going to shift because of the alterations that we are making within our financial structure. Got a video that we've done on that. I will probably be doing an updated video now that we are into 2026, and we've kind of, the pilot for December, it's looking pretty good. It's going to be pretty interesting as we delve through these numbers, because not everything went in the direction that we wanted it to, but from a financial perspective, everything did go in the direction we wanted it to. And just spoiler, the one thing that didn't go in the direction we wanted it to was the debt. The debt went up. So we'll talk about that in the Debt Crusher episode. I did not upload last month's Debt Crusher episode, so it's going to be 2 months in arrears. We're going to just go through and see where we're sitting at. Because as we were making some pivots, the debt wasn't going in the right direction, and it wasn't. My schedule for the holidays got really cramped, and that's not an excuse, but I did not follow my process. So I generally have a recording phase, and then I'll do a mass thumbnail and upload phase, and I did not do that. I was like piecemealing it, and I can do this tomorrow, which is why I got also behind on my Backtalk episodes. So like those, even if I take a couple of weeks off for holidays, you should always get a Backtalk episode. I got behind on my Backtalk episodes because I did not keep those ahead. I get ahead on them about a month and a half, 2 months, and then I get lazy. And so 2026, we are going to alleviate that with processes. We are doing a bulk of this early. We will get all of those lined out, because I have been brainstorming content for my Backtalk episodes also, because it's a weekly conversation. And we're going to be doing that. We're hopefully going to be getting some clips so like you guys will be able to see shorter form versions of these videos, hopefully moving into 2026. Bunch of stuff that'll all be in the 2026 goals and stuff that I'm looking at doing episodes. So we're going to go ahead and jump on in to this because I'm veering. I haven't been here with you guys in a long time, so I feel like we got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, the net worth. We are back at above $250,000, which is nice. We are at $255,874.54 for a net worth. Now, this is a year-end review, so I go back to where we were in December of 2024. We are down. This is a year where we are down. We had a down year. That's crazy, considering how well the year went. And again, us being fully invested, most of our stuff is tied to Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes down, it's going to affect everything else. We are down $13,897.46 from December of 2024. December of 2025, we closed out a little bit below our metric, but honestly, for the amounts, the numbers that we're doing now, we're still in the ballpark. That's actually not horrible, not the greatest, but it's not horrible. I'm not upset about it because we've got so much infrastructure laid down and we kind of pivoted away from just buying growth assets. We pivoted away from just buying Bitcoin to put ourselves in position to be able to get out of the rat race, which is a focal theme for 2026 because 2026 wind at our back. We should actually even when if the wind's not at our back, because we're going to be grinding it out. Like we're going to be making a pivotal step at replacing our W-2 income, which is a big piece of getting out of the rat race. We're going to be making some tweaks to how we do things, preparing to go into 2027. 2026 might be the last year that I carry traditional insurance. One of the things I'm looking at, we're optimizing everything. Everything is up for scrutiny and debate in 2026 because now we're getting to a point to where we go, do I want to pay those insurance premiums? Would that be better suited to just pay out of pocket? Because having had a major surgery now, I start to wonder what the benefit is, considering I'm basically only going to the doctor if I'm getting surgery at this point. And getting that money to work for me. That's also kind of a important piece of how we're navigating. But from the net worth perspective, we did take a little bit of a hit because we are very heavily tied to Bitcoin, and I will stand, live, and die on that hill. I am totally fine about that because that's just, the lane that I've chosen. That's my basis. That is the basis of how I look at my personal monetary policy. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I can jump into dollars. I can jump into fiat as needed to pay for things and to purchase things. But at the end of the day, my thesis and my basis and my peer view comes from a Bitcoin out perspective. So are we stacking more Bitcoin? I believe so. Absolutely. We're moving that needle forward every year. Every year we're coming out with more Bitcoin. My net worth obviously is not tracked in Bitcoin, but it's tracked in fiat. So from a fiat perspective, we're down. Bitcoin spiked and then went down. So we're down. It's what it is. I'm acknowledging that. We are carrying that moving forward. We got to hold the L. I can't say that every year over year we're running the bag up, because in this small window of time when we took these numbers, we were down. Give it a quarter. That's what I got to say about that. Next, we're going to go to our savings percentage. Now, we were supposed to, when I originally said we were going to just throw everything at the debt, and then I changed my mind. I continue to educate myself. I continue to understand how finance works. And from my perspective, my situation, the way that I choose to navigate my dollars, I decided that it would be more efficient to go fully invested. And I did a pilot for the month of December, which was 80+% of my W-2 paychecks that come in every 2 weeks just go directly into my brokerage account. The brokerage account, and it goes into the brokerage account and then immediately gets disseminated into my holdings, which consists of 2 places as it sits right now. My long-term investments, which are not income producers, those are actual stocks, which is the such a small part of my portfolio right now because I was not prioritizing that. I'm front loading to get most of it into my income portfolio to get that where it needs to be, because we're trying to go ahead. We're really close to getting that portfolio finished. And after we get that portfolio finished, I have another portfolio that's coming behind that. I have 2 portfolios that are income portfolios that'll be behind that. I will have 3 tiers of income to pull from for specific things, while at the same time, moving, how do I put that? While at the same time building up a long-term holding portfolio that's kind of a growth foundational portfolio, but my portfolios are segregated. So I keep them very specific for the thing that it's being used for. So as it sits, the primary income portfolio is the one that we're trying to finish out. It is on the goal set for 2026. I want that portfolio done. As we're moving forward through 2026, so my savings percentage was going to be really close to 0 for a little while, and then I decided to go the exact opposite direction. So what does that look like? When we're bringing it in there, we're taking about 80% at least is what I consider for me fully invested, because like I have little cutouts that go other places, but over 80% of my W-2 take home pay goes directly into my brokerage account and then gets disseminated into the market, which is actually closer to 90% because 10% is going into Bitcoin directly as a long-term holding, just directly. But since we're building up our income foundation, our income base right now, we did dial back from just purchasing Bitcoin, because while we're living out of our brokerage right now, the end goal, as we move through this process, is that direct deposit will eventually become predominantly living out of Bitcoin. That is going to be the end goal, which is like, okay, so we buy as much. Eventually, it's just like, hey, we're just buying Bitcoin until we can't get a hold of Bitcoin anymore. And then we'll go back to doing the income portfolio thing with whatever the market is doing then, whatever world landscape we live in at that point. We'll worry about that then. So our savings percentage was 54.78%, which is pretty nice. So obviously, living out of your brokerage, I am tapping into my margin, which means I do overdraw into my margin account. But those paychecks that come in, the W-2 income that goes in there specifically to be respent. So it'll pay off the margin, and then I go back into the margin as I distribute that amount that direct deposit was. 54% seems to be about what it's going to be at doing things this way, at least as it sits right now, because only a minimum of the distribution and dividend income goes into the portfolio, because it's predominantly used to pay off that margin. We are not using the flywheel any longer because I have enough of a margin cushion to where I can actually tap into and just go deeper into the margin and pay myself on those flywheel spins. Like now I'm flywheeling out of the margin versus the Cash App, because with Cash App, I got to pay 5% or whatever to Cash App, and I don't necessarily want to do that when I can just put everything in the margin and then not have to worry about it, aside from logging how much I got paid, because then it's just chunking the margin down as we move forward. Savings percent this month was 54.78%. I think that's probably going to be about the standard it's going to be between, I'd say 50 and 60%, depending on if we have any windfalls. Because I know that we've got a little bit of bonus money coming in, which is I'm excited for, because most of that's going to go into the brokerage account, and then a little bit's going to go into the Bitcoin stacking. I'm excited about it. That's going to be interesting. And yeah, that's where we're at with the percentage save. We're probably going to be sitting around 54%, which is, for all the FIRE people, that's great. I have great savings numbers. Now, what's that cost? I pay the debt down a little bit slower. These past couple of months, the experimental month, while I was figuring out how I was going to be working this system, I was not drawing on the margin till the end of the month. So there was some lost opportunity there where I could have accelerated the debt payment, and I didn't. Moving forward, I think it'll be more fluid. So we moved in the wrong direction with the debt to the tune of a couple of grand. So it's about $1,000 a month that the debt's ticking back up. We're getting a little bit more strategic with what we're buying, because like obviously it's almost like just don't buy stuff, but you got to eat. I got cats, I got expenses. It is what it is. But as we're working through that, we're building our way through it, and it's kind of on similar to what our government's doing. It's like you got to grow your way out of your debt. And as we're building up that income base, that flywheel gets cranked faster, and as the flywheel gets cranked faster, we're paying off the debt faster. Like that's the end goal of that. So moving on, we get next to the total saved. Total saved, we saved $4,122. Now, when I say saved, I need it to be understood. I don't save money. I don't believe in saving money. I don't have a cash reserve in the traditional sense. I'm going to be doing a couple of videos on how I look at saving cash personally. And so in doing that, I just don't, when I say saved, it's how much money I put into the market to get working. All my money is working. My bank accounts are on minimum. If you ever looked at my bank account, it's not something I could even flex with, because there's like $50 per account. It's like if I have a checking and 2 savings, because if I have an established relationship, with the bank, I'm going to have probably about 3 accounts. I'll have 2 savings accounts. So that way it's like overdraw protection. And then I can parse those out to just save cash in if I'm getting ready to make a large purchase. And it'll be like $150 total. Like it'll be $20 to $50 in each of the accounts just to keep them open, and money just flows through it. I don't save money. I don't have cash. I don't believe in it. I can get cash within 24 hours from any of my brokerage options, and I get paid dividends multiple times a week. So, and I have a margin pool. So like, I don't even have to wait for the dividend to show up. If I need cash, I can get cash. I can make the maneuvers that way. So saving for me is just getting money and working in other places or set in positions, because I'm not in a state or a space right now to where I'm hand to mouth with my cash. Like I have credit cards. I have ways to front myself money, and then I can pay the credit cards with the distributions. I can tap into the margin. I'm not getting crazy with that. I try to keep myself at less than 50% margin. Just because my margin pool, I'm starting to strategically work on that. That's one of the things that we're going to be looking at for 2026. I got to restructure how my margin's built, because it's not the greatest. So I have a small pool of margin right now in comparison to what I previously had, which was a much larger pool of margin that I had to play with. And we'll be building our margin pool back up now that I'm starting to understand from a strategic perspective how I'm moving with some of these positions. But yeah, throwing in $4,000 a month into your investments and watching them grow. And then not only that, having the predominance of that income going into producing more income is a pretty awesome thing. And we're going to talk about that with our next deal, which is how much income did we have over the month of December, closing out the year. Now, from an income perspective, this was awesome. Considering that, like me personally, I do not subject myself to the same lifestyle creep of these internet gurus, these people who just want to flex on other people. I get stuff that I like, that I care about. Like, I enjoy vehicles. I enjoy driving fast. That does not mean that I need a Ferrari. It's kind of, I don't need the newest car. I don't believe in new cars. I don't need to flex with my house. I need a place to sleep that's sound, that's put together, which there's always a project to do around my house. I enjoy doing that. I enjoy tinkering with vehicles, but I am not the type of person who goes, I've got to make umpteen bazillion dollars a year. Now, as I progress, do I continue to want to make more money than I made last year? Absolutely. That's just to improve yourself, move forward. I want to lift more weight than I could last year too. These are things that just make sense, in my opinion. As it sits right now, my target is to make $10,000 a month. Like, that's a simple, because I'm like, that's more money than I need, at least with the lifestyle that I have right now, like the stuff that I have right now. Like, that would give me a cushion to do some extra stuff around the house, which that's the way that I think. I don't want to buy stuff to impress people on YouTube. Like, that's cringy. It's corny to me. You're a cornball. Like, I enjoy going out with my friends. I enjoy having nice meals, which I do now. I can do that stuff now in the frequency that I want to do it. I don't like going out every day. But having that $10,000 a month for me gives me money to invest in my property that I have. It gives me more money to invest in acquiring more Bitcoin. Those are priorities, which I'm looking at Bitcoin as my second property, because I'll be able to do some leverage things with that, just like what I do with my house. So we brought in $7,524 in income this month, and that's including the W-2. So I gotta remember that a chunk of that is going to go away, which is why the goal of $10,000 a month is for my portfolio. I want 10,000 coming in a month from my portfolio. That's the goal. Now, having 10,000 a month come in with the income, with the W-2, also fine, because I'm going to have extra money. At that point, I'd say by the time we start hitting I'd say about $8,000 a month. Once I start hitting the eights, which is another $500, I should be able to do most of my day-to-day existence off of the dividend income. Most of it. At which point I'm going to start looking at optimizing my health insurance. Like, I'm looking at doing concierge medical services, because generally speaking, unless I'm like really torn up, I don't really have too many issues. I don't go to the doctor that often to begin with. But like a concierge service, when it's like, hey, like, you have a relationship with this doctor specifically, I would be more apt to talk to them, because I'm not just a number in a system that's going to get seen for 7 minutes and they're going to charge me umpteen bazillion dollars I get to pay out of pocket for. Also, I'll still be able to use my HSA money for that, probably, because like I'm already on a plan where it doesn't really give me it's like you don't have a whole bunch of options. Like, you have to have some form of insurance, but the shift over to concierge and then just getting some rinky dink plan to just have something, I guess, I don't know. Because if you look at what you're paying for your insurance premiums and you actually start researching how much concierge service costs, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Like, it's what you're paying anyway to go to the doctor and pay to go to the doctor. Like, then you could just go to the doctor because you're already paying them. Like, it's just, it's health insurance is crazy. Like, I'll probably be doing a whole series on navigating that space once I get around to it. So with the income that we had, the $7,524, we're moving into the realm of me being able to start obviously paying down the consumer debt faster, also acquiring more Bitcoin, because the amount that we're putting off the savings, also being able to do that. Moving over to specifically the dividend income, which was nice because we beat our take home this month. We brought home $3,923 in distribution / dividend income. Great. We're moving obviously with that overarching target of $10,000. Like, we've still got a long track ahead of us. The thing that I noticed over the month of December, the pilot test being fully invested, which is, again, the money hits the brokerage first and you invest all of it and then you live out of the brokerage. And what that means is you're tapping the margin, or you've built up an income base where you're bringing in enough income to where you don't have to overdraw into the margin and you don't have to use it, but you just use the income that's coming into the account. With the looking at the month of December, we're bringing in, it's basically building on the income anywhere between $50 to $100 a week is what we were looking at specifically over the month of December. Now, the issue is it's market dependent. Stuff goes up, stuff goes down. You have to actively manage your portfolio. You have to, there's a lot of, it's not necessarily a lot of moving parts, because I generally look at my portfolio over lunch and I make whatever moves I need to while I'm taking my bathroom break over lunch. Which is like a once a day thing. And I'm not doing stuff every day. I do stuff. It's honestly my lunch on Wednesday. And what was the other one? Tuesday and Wednesday, and every other Friday are the days of the week that I actually do things. And Fridays I don't work. So I'm generally at home. So whenever I wake up, I just make whatever adjustments I need to make at that point. But over the month of December, as those checks came in, as the W-2 income came in, as we got that allocated, we saw the income jumping between $50 and $100 a week, which is cool. Like the next week, it's like, hey, we broke into the 800s. Now at 800, that unlocked us, bring in the ability to pull 10% of the total that we made that week, moving it over to help bolster the long-term holdings portfolio. We've got some really interesting stuff going on over there. With Bitcoin being under $90,000, when the income hits the portfolio to begin with, our W-2 income, we're pulling an additional 10% off the top of that. So 20% is going into long-term invest and long-term holding portfolio. 10%, again, boosting that Bitcoin exposure. So I want to buy additional Bitcoin. Could I buy regular Bitcoin? Yes, but I'd prefer to have the leveraged exposure and hold those companies also in concurrent, because after a certain point, when that portfolio gets up to about $10,000, $20,000, I'll turn the margin on that, and then I can pull the margin off that to just buy Bitcoin directly without having to sell those assets ever. Because the goal is to never have to sell. There is one play, actually, there's a couple of plays that we're going to be running in that portfolio that we will be doing, where it's you're selling to buy another asset. But like, as far as the stuff that's in the long-term portfolio, we are doing that to just build and build and build. And then if we need to do something with those positions to borrow money, to move around, to actually turn it into Bitcoin, if we have another blow off top, we'll margin those positions and use that, and then use the income portfolio to pay back the margin. Like, that's just what we'll be doing. And as it continues to grow, it's like, well, you get to see compounding over a month. It's like, okay, so cool. So now that experiment is becoming a standard. We're doing the next test, the actual test, which is Q1 of 2026. If we have 3 months of just getting an additional $50 to $100 a week every week compounding, like, that turns into some serious progress over the course of a quarter. And if it works for a month and then it works for a quarter, we're going to keep doing it for another quarter. And then when it ends up being the whole year, and like you do it for the year of 2026, like now you're going, okay, well, if you're getting $50 to $100 a week compounded every week for a year, that's pretty awesome. Actually, let's look at here. Let me do a quick maths real quick. So, FD times 52 weeks in a year. That's $2,600 a month at the end of the year. Just compounding if you're getting that type of growth every week. And I mean, granted, that is a portfolio that's already been running. It's about 40, it's over $40,000, but it's producing income, and like it takes money to make money. I'd say for me, once I got to $1,000 a month, once I got to $100 in a week, I started taking it serious. Like that was when I was like, okay, like this is going to be the play for me. And like, if you go back to my older videos, when I started doing this, that was the trigger for me. I was like, oh, it's $100. That's interesting. But like now you're looking at it and you're going, okay, like as the portfolio's grown, because we've gone up, we've gone down, we've been through booms and busts, and we start formalizing our strategy, start actually looking at positions. I'm not saying this is set and forget. I have 3 days a week that I'm in my portfolio for about 10 minutes. And I'm constantly looking at the market, researching, learning about new products, learning about new tools, honing my ability to utilize the tools that I am using. And I say that a lot. I don't look at my income portfolio. They're not necessarily investments. They're tools for a job. High income is a tool. The different strategies that these different companies, between your Roundhill, your graniteshares, which I really like. I like those paired together a lot. They're tools. They're used for different things. None of this is set and forget. Oh yeah, you just keep dumping your money in here and just look away. Like that's not the way that I'm doing this. There's a little bit of work. It's a lot less work than what I do every day at work. It's a lot less stressful in my honest opinion. And granted, obviously, it's my money and my proclivity, but coming from a crypto space, this is easy for me. I find it interesting. I enjoy it. I like seeing money come in for me just holding the stock and like making sure that it's not tanking to umpteen percent. Like I see people on Reddit all the time and they're just these horror stories. Like I'm down 60% for the year and I don't understand. And I'm like, what did you do with the money? Are you looking at total return? Do you understand how these investments work? Oh, well, you just got to get out before it goes to zero. And I'm like, okay, well, cool. So if you're hammering screws, then you're probably not going to build a really good house, nor are you going to have a good time, because hammering screws is like both stupid and hard. Does that make the hammer and or the screw dumb? Like, no, you're not using a screwdriver. You're not using a screw gun. You're using a hammer for a screw. Also, trying to screw nails is pretty dumb too. Like it just doesn't work. So like you have to be able to understand how tools are utilized. And I had to go through the learning process too. Fortunately, none of it was in the sense of some of these Reddit posts that I see where people are like, yeah, I sold and I was at a total loss of 60%. Like, how do you do that? Like, are you like, at that point, you shouldn't be investing in anything, because like you are obviously not mentally there enough to deal with these markets, which is unfortunate, because that also means you're going to be a peasant forever, because the financial system that we're in has forced us to be in these markets. So like now you're just not astute enough to understand how to like get progress. So unfortunately, you're going to have to figure something out. Like maybe just buy Bitcoin, maybe just buy gold, maybe just find yourself that one thing where you just do that indiscriminately all the time and you set and forget it and you feel okay. But high yield ain't going to be it for you. I'm just saying. If that's your proclivity, like if you don't understand that, like, hey, maybe you're navigating these positions based on total return and total loss, which is how I do it personally, and you go, hey, if this gets to around 10%, I'm going to sell it and buy something else. I don't know. Like it sounds like a way better existence than like waiting till you're like 80% down because you were scared and like not willing to make a move. And now you're in these dire straits and you took out a loan to do all of this and didn't service the loan. Like, what were you doing with the income you made before you were down 60%? That's also a different discussion that nobody ever wants to have because context, like when you're doom and glooming. And I honestly don't believe these people are actually that stupid. I think that they just do it to scare other people because anything that you can use to get yourself out of a situation of eternal servitude and serfdom and slavery in the modern day. It seems like people just love to post these worst case what ifs. And, if that's what we're doing, then that's what we're doing. But that's a different life. Peasants are scared of everything. And we're not peasants over here in the wolf pack. So you miss me with the what if this doesn't work. The way that I'm looking at it is after this works. I'm looking at after because we are on the grind. I'm in the portfolio. I'm fully invested as it is. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to have a bunch of money saved up that'll just get converted to Bitcoin. And then I'll have to work a little bit longer because I'm not going to ride my income portfolio to zero. What if Bitcoin doesn't work? Well, if Bitcoin doesn't work, that means that like a bunch of other stuff doesn't work because it's the best opportunity that there is at the moment. So, like money's already actively not working. People can't afford to eat. You're not getting a raise. Stuff's going up 20% a year and you're not getting a raise, period. Or if you are getting a raise, it's like 3.5% and inflation's 10. So still can't eat. So what else are you doing? Bitcoin's the only thing I've ever owned where stuff gets less expensive for me, including now when the price is down in the under 90,000, sitting between 85 and 80 and 90,000. For me, stuff is still cheaper because I've been buying since 2013. I've had it since 2013. Like every year, stuff gets less expensive by orders of magnitude. Take your pick. Was it even less expensive at 126? Yes, it was. Is it still less expensive? Things that I have to get if I have to convert $2? Yes, it is. My value of time over the long period of time, because I don't look in small increments of time, with the exception of my income portfolio. I don't care what Bitcoin price is next week. I care what Bitcoin's price is next year, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. That's what I care about because I'm storing my value and it is amplifying as time goes on. It becomes worth more. If I was saving in dollars, my time that I worked would be worth less. It's that simple. So I'm not worried about it not working. I know that it works. It's worked for the last 13 years for me. Like I can't speak to everybody else's experience, but one of the things I do know mathematically, and this is math, no one who's held Bitcoin for 4 years, which means you buy it and don't sell it, you don't try to trade, you don't try to get fancy, is at a negative return, period, which means that like if you're holding it long term, the value of your time, if you're storing it in Bitcoin versus storing it in dollars, grows. Dollars do not grow. You can buy less stuff. It's just what it is. So, we're looking at that. We're growing that. We're above our W-2 take home, which is awesome. That's a great place to be. Still got a good trek to get to 10 grand a year or 10 grand a month. Well, 10 grand a year. That would suck. And, we're just looking at the compound. Now, another one that we normally do, which is going to be getting switched out or just dropped off, is DeFi because we're moving out of those positions. I'm trying to ride this out as long as I possibly can because I don't want to completely miss some of these opportunities. But honestly, as we condense down, there's just no reason for me to be focusing on that when I have the income that I'm wanting at the clip that I'm wanting, and it's easier to manage and it's not nuking itself overnight with high yield. So the DeFi will probably be going away. We're converting over as much as possible and moving into Bitcoin and Ethereum, mostly Bitcoin at this point, because I have a certain threshold that I want to meet for my portfolio so I can start leveraging and doing some Bitcoin plays. But yeah, that's what we're doing with that. So then what do we have last is our month ending credit score. And why credit scores are important, people, is because it gives you access to cheap money / capital. It's not so that you can go on vacation to Disneyland, because apparently you guys are going in debt to just go to Disneyland, which is also crazy to me. But it's so that you can get some of that cheap money to buy assets. And in the current situation that I'm in, to cycle debt. Like we're gonna have at least one more debt cycle of moving as much stuff as we can into 0% positions, so that way we can pay them down at our leisure, which frees up a lot more capital for us to continue to invest, obviously. And our credit score at the end of this month is 724. It's down a little bit. We're like floating between we've been above 720, which is like one of the things that people flex on. I don't care about my credit score specifically beyond the ability for me to get a hold of cheap capital to fund investments. So, for instance, Citibank is back to sending me blank checks. That's awesome. Now, which actually coincides very nicely because Citibank is currently the card that we're focused on paying off. So when we pay it off, I'm about to just tax that card with one of them blank checks and then move as much money as I possibly can over into 0% positions, while also giving myself probably another $1,000 in Bitcoin, because every debt that we do at this point, we buy a little bit of Bitcoin with 10% of it. But yeah, the Citibank check to cash pipeline is amazing. I'm hoping because the next card up is our Discover, that we can get the same level of love from the Discover card once we start doing that. But yeah, some of the other positions that we have, we're going to start really focusing in on getting them into 0% positions, and then paying off the one that's coming up the closest, and then hopefully not buying as much stuff, because I have been scaling back. Like I've got things that I have to do, but then I also have things that I'm not gonna have to do, and the things that we're not gonna have to do, like we're not gonna do them. Like I got, like especially like the wardrobe stuff, I've got like a couple more things I'm getting for winter. I've got a couple of things I'm gonna get for summer. We're getting ready to cycle out the winter clothes and get the summer clothes back out. There's just stuff that I don't like buying. Like I force myself to buy clothes. Like it's ridiculous. I hate it. It's not something that I necessarily value. I look good in them, but I don't care. Like I don't even want to leave my house. like I just, it's just gotten to the point now to where I'm so dialed in, and I'm like, where I want to go outside, somewhere that doesn't have chemtrails and smog. That's what I want to do. I want to be out of the US. I want to be out of this like toxic environment. And when I'm out traveling and I'm gone for a few weeks at a time, or a couple of weeks at a time, multiple times a year, I'll go outside then. And like when I'm here, I want to be locked in. I'm going to be doing content. I want to be like focused on my recordings, all of these things that I can do at home. Enjoying time with people, obviously, going to nice dinner every here and then with my friends, going out, having a good night out, like maybe once a month, once a quarter with my friends. Yes, tinkering with my vehicle, upgrading my house, making my place that I live even more of a sanctuary for me to be in, and a pleasant place to just exist in. Yes. But spending money on stuff that I don't care about to impress other people that I don't care about, that don't care about me, just not what we're doing in 2026. Like we are focused in, and I think that we're going to start seeing the results of that. But since we do our financial update every month, we're going to know. So obviously we're starting back at a little bit above $250,000. We're going to have our goals episode, which will be this Thursday. tap in for that so you can see what our targets are, because I'm going to retarget what my target was last year, with a little bit of caveats in there. So definitely tap in. This is going to be a week filled with gems. This is your boy Reckless Raid and Arrow. One more reminder, do not forget to hit that like button if you haven't yet. If you made it this far in the video, don't forget to subscribe. If you're rocking with your boy, let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought, thoughts, opinions. I love having the conversation. This is me ranting into the ether, but I do respond. I do talk back, and I do care about the feedback. So lastly, don't forget to share the video. Get me out of the algorithm. We're gonna keep plugging away. Obviously, I'm not necessarily dependent on being a YouTuber. I don't believe I want this to be a job, because, like, honestly, after we get to the end of the road, as far as like what I'm trying to do, like, these videos are probably going to change, and I'll just be like, hey, like, this is maybe some stuff that I'm doing, places I'm traveling to, opinions on that stuff. But this is a documentation of a journey, and whatever that evolves into, and whatever community we build over here, whatever I can do to add value to you guys, I care about. Like, the people who don't rock with me, I'm like not trying to get in front of people's faces, because I want them to necessarily be here. Now, if I could get a cup of coffee off this, that would be great, you know, because coffee's expensive, and I make my own coffee, but I like good coffee, so like that also comes with a price. Till next month, people, this has been our financial end of year report for 2025. And now we'll be doing the monthly financial updates for 2026. New year, we're gonna run the bag up. Everybody, this is the point where you're getting very motivated. Lock in with me this year. Let's go ahead and take this journey together. Let's make the most of our 2026 and get these bags. It's your boy Reckless Raid and Arrow. Until next month, I'm out. Peace.
Money on my mind, yeah. Focus, got no time for games, nah. I don't play, man, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.